Greetings and salutations. We are in a new spot because my phone kept overheating in my normal spot, and I just got so tired of that. So let's see if it does better here. So I actually recorded this video once and I had to delete it because of other issues. So we are going to do take number 2. So welcome to the channel, you guys. Welcome to just expressing and learning and exploring the world. And today I want to talk about annual perfections. So if you're down and you're interested in that topic, stay with me. So if you don't know me, my name is Kyra, and here on my channel, I just like to talk about things that I'm learning, what I know really well, and just talk about life and how I'm experiencing it. And today I was thinking about my annual perfection year and reflecting on the planet that I have as the ruler of this year and how it's been transiting, and just looking and seeing if I can see or notice any patterns that it's been bringing into my life. So it made me think about the theme of annual perfections and just going into it. So I just want to talk about it. There's a lot of videos on YouTube and resources online in order to learn about annual perfections, but I wanted to add this to my catalog of things that I love and know, because I do actually use annual perfections in my life. I find it as a very powerful astrology timing technique in order to answer some questions. And you know, I love answering questions. So let's get into it. So I was revisiting annual perfections and I forgot how simple but powerful they were. This timing technique actually is, right? It's a very, once you hear about it, if you don't know, and if you know, you know, it's a very simple calculation and system, but it can bring you so much information for your whole year. And to be honest, if you want to look ahead, things that are coming up, or reflect on the past and ask yourself some more introspective, like reflective questions about how life has brought you some experiences. So because this is not just about your birth chart, it's about what part of your chart is being activated this year. And that key word, activation, is really important when it comes to annual perfections. Traditionally, that is the whole theme. Traditionally, annual perfections is a system of Hellenistic astrology that believes that this part of your chart, this planet, is not activated like until you are in a perfection year for it. So you might not feel the energy of the planet when it's transiting or having the things. They might not have as much weight to it unless you're in the perfection year. Now, personally, I think that you do still feel the energy of a planet even if it's not in your perfection year. But I do think that there is a amplification of the energy and more experiences that are coming in, particularly in these feelings, these experiences, in order to teach you something for your growth. My belief is that astrology, the stars, energy is all here to grow you. We are creators and we are humans that are existing in a space, in a world that is here to expand and explore. So these are just ways that the energy is helping to guide us in doing it. It's not making the choices for you, right? You have free will. You're going to make your own choices. But once you learn about these systems and themes in life, you can better understand the choices, and that can help you quantum leap in your life. So, what are annual perfections? It's a Hellenistic timing technique that dates back to ancient astrology times around the 1st and 2nd century. It's used to track yearly themes and understand the focus of life for that year. If you're interested in like doing really deep research on Hellenistic astrology, I would recommend this book. This is one of my favorites. You can see it, Hellenistic Astrology. And it's The Study and Fate of Fortune by Chris Brennan. He's got a actual YouTube channel too on YouTube, and it's wonderful. He has wonderful information and knowledge, lots of time spent exploring the topic of Hellenistic astrology plus. So very great resource to pull and to look into for getting a foundation base of understanding annual perfections. So if you're used to like tracking your yearly themes and understanding the focus of your life, Annual Profections is a wonderful technique, and I highly recommend it's something that you look into if you haven't already. And if you are very familiar with Annual Profections, let me know in the comments like what you found profound or enlightening about using them, or if you know anything really cool about it that I would love to learn. Let me know. I want this to be a space where I'm constantly growing and where the conversations are being had about the topics, because every time I discuss something, look into it, explore something, I always learn something new. And me communicating what I've learned and what I know only deepens my knowledge of it. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to make this channel, is to keep expanding my knowledge. And for me, a lot of times that happens through me communicating about it. So instead of everything being activated all at once, each year highlights a specific part of your chart. That's the biggest concept about annual profections to remember. So how this works is each year equals one house. It starts from your birth, so age 0 until your first birthday. That's going to be the first house, first house, so your rising house. So whatever your rising sign is, your ascendant, this is going to start your perfection wheel. And there's going to be 12 houses, just like in traditional astrology, like natal wheel. So age 0 to 1 is your rising. 1 to 2 is your second house. 2 to 3, third house. 3 to 4, fourth house, and so on until you get to 12. And then the cycle starts again. These are 12-year cycles, right? So it resets every 12 years, which 12 is such a profound number when it comes to astrology, numerology, sacred geometry, just the universe. It's a creation number when you add it together, because 1 plus 2 equals 3. And things are usually in cycles of 12 that have profound significance, right? Sets of 3. So your age tells you which house is activated. So when you're looking at your perfected chart, or your annual perfected chart, you can look and see where your age falls on the chart. You can pull one up on Google. I'll see if I have the energy to insert one right here. If I did, it's right there. And this will show you your birth date, and you just look and see what house it's falling into and what ruler is ruling that sign. Now it is like it follows it. So if you have a Libra rising, Libra is going to be that 0 to 1, that first space for your annual perfection. So that means Libra is ruled by Venus. So Venus is always going to rule the space of that time. So any birth date that falls, like any of your birth, not dates, any of your birth ages that falls into that category will always be happening in a Libra Venus ruled perfection year until it resets, right? And then you can kind of see which planets are cycling through just based upon how they fall. Now, when you're using an annual perfection chart, it's best to use whole sign houses. That is the system that this was created under. One, it's going to give you a cleaner and a more comprehensive understanding, but you can also use Placidus or any other system if you want to. It's your rules, like do whatever you want. Traditionally, that's not how it's done, but if it works for you, it works for you. You're not here to necessarily just follow something by the books and just take that as the end all be all. You're here to create your own. So if you can take a system that already exists and then expand that system into creating something new, then that's great for you. Okay, I think the princess wants to come out. Let me move for her. Go ahead, princess. I'm sitting in the doorway. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. She said, thanks. But this was a better spot for me, and I got something to lean my back on, which is always love, mad love. Okay, so if you we're going to calculate this, right? Using whole sign, find your rising sign, and then take your age, divide that by 12, or count forward, right? 1, and then you land on the house. You can do it that way. It's a really easy calculation, but to be honest, you can just pull up the chart. Once you pull up the chart, you can just count. So if you know I'm 0 here, then I'm 1 here, I'm 2 here, I'm 3 here. When I'm 4, it's in here. And then once you start to realize that, you just look at your age and you know what house you're in. And you only have to memorize 12 of them, you guys. Like, I know it seems overwhelming, but once you start getting into the habit of it, you start to realize, okay, every 12 years, it's a cycle. So once I'm in my first year, my first house, my second house is always the themes of this sign and this planetary ruler is being activated. So it's pretty cool to understand, and it's pretty simple. If you need help, just let me know. We can break it down together, and I always like to explore. And then I can learn what your perfection and all that type of stuff is and your experience with it. So if you're 24, first house, if you're 25, second house, kind of count like that. Once you turn 26, you're moving into your third house, 27, fourth house, and so on until you leave this planet. So it's a cycle, not a one-time event. So the chart ruler, I kept mentioning that this is one of the most important parts, is each house is ruled by a planet based on the sign. And that planet, it becomes what is called the Time Lord. So the keeper of the keys. Very Harry Potter. It explains like the sign of your activated house. And then you find the ruling planet. And that's what will be your Time Lord. The planet becomes the main focus of your year, right? This is the planet that is bringing the most energy, feeling into it, right? It's the natal placement that matters. It's the transit that matters. And it's the condition of that sign, or sorry, that planet that matters, right? So where this planet it falls in your natal chart, where this planet is transiting while it's going through this perfection year, because each planet moves at a different speed. So some planets won't move 4 years. So you might have, one planet that's, going through your whole cycle of 12 years before it even moves sign. So when you hit that perfection year, if that planet is activated, it's going to stay in that same sign in that same house potentially for the whole year, unless it is in a moment where it's actually in a transition phase where it's moving into the next sign or the next house. And then the condition that that planet is in is matters. So if you have, say, a exalted sun because your sun is in Aries, that sun is in a really healthy condition. But let's say you have a fallen sun, or a sun that is away because it's in Libra, it's in a less healthy condition, right? It's not as healthy. So it's going to have more to overcome in order to find the lessons and the truth through it. Nothing is a bad thing. It's just a different challenge. We all have different challenges and different gifts when it comes to this life, and we're learning how to exist within all of that, right? You can turn a challenge into your greatest gift sometimes, and a gift can turn into your biggest challenge sometimes. It's all about how you view life and how you utilize your moments and your experiences. So how to activate your chart when you're looking at annual perfections. The Time Lord activates its natal house, and it activates any natal aspects that are transiting to that house, and then activates whatever is transiting it outside of that. So let's use me, for example, right? If Mars rules your year like it does for me right now, I look at where my natal Mars is. And natally, I have Mars in Pisces. And my Mars is in Pisces in 29 degrees. So it's an anaretic degree. It's a very much an important completion energy so there's always going to be a lot of focus on Mars in my chart. So whenever I come into an annual perfection in my Mars year, like when Mars is activated in my chart, I know that this is a big transformational thing for me. And it's a big lesson that my soul came here to learn. And then I look at and Pisces is kind of neutral when it comes to Mars. It's water, fire doesn't always enjoy being in water because it slows it down. But then once you learn to work with it, with Pisces, I learned that I can activate my Mars and move forward with it as long as I'm coming from the space of my dreams and making it really like fantasy focus and living in my fantasy, not in a delusion of just pretending like something is real, but in like what I want to visualize and create. I can create so much action and movement when it is building my fantasy that I want to live in this world. And my Mars is activated very healthily there. And then I just look out for any type of illusions or overindulgences of escapism that can happen with my Mars, and to throw my Mars off because it's in Pisces. So that's me looking at my natal placement of Mars and the health of that Mars. And 29 degrees is also a Leo degree, so there's also a fire emphasis on some type of expression and creation. And to be honest, reception that is looking to be had by my actions of my dreams. And I just look at where that is, and then I look at what house that's in, right? My Mars is in whole sign. It's going to be in my 6th house, and in Placid, it sits in my 5th house. So in my everyday life, when I go about things, I do go about in a very Martian action way. And in my inner world, like my thoughts, my psychology behind it, a lot of time is very focused on like the things that I find entertainment in, the things that I want to create and bring into the world. I can take a lot of action towards that. So that's my natal placement of it. So then I'm going to look at where Mars is currently transiting in my chart. So if Mars right now is currently, I think it's transiting my 6th house when I looked this morning, in whole sign, no, in Placidus, and it's in my 7th house in whole sign. So my relationships are in my, how I relate to other things outside of me. There's a lot of passion and action and potential conflict that is coming in those situations in order to teach me something. And then I'm feeling very like action orientated in how I go about my systems and my routines when it comes to dealing with my relationships, when I look at both Placidus and whole signs for that Mars. So you look at your natal Mars and you look at the current transit. And it's not just Mars. I'm just using Mars because that's where mine is. You look at whatever planet is the ruler for that perfected year, whether it's the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, or Saturn. Traditionally, it's the inner planets that are used for perfection. Annual profections. The outer planets are not traditionally used, but you can use them if you want to, if they serve you and if you find growth there. I sometimes do. So I am in a Mars ruled year, but it's a Scorpio. I'm in Scorpio house. So Mars traditionally rules Scorpio. So I look at Mars, but for me, Scorpio has a lot of Pluto energy, so I do look at where Pluto is to see also how that's influencing this year. And then one thing you can look at too is if you have a day chart or a night chart. If you have a day chart, your most benefic planet is going to be Jupiter, and your most malefic planet is going to be Mars. And if you have a nighttime chart, your most benefic planet is going to be Venus, and your most malefic planet is going to be Saturn. So when you look at that, you can also see like, okay, I'm in the malefic ruling of my chart year, so there could be energy around conflicts and things like that. Now, they don't have to feel bad or uncomfortable. That's all about how I go into them and how I perceive them. And I'm just going to let you know right now, personally, I am not conflict averse. If anything, I enjoy contrast. It's not to say that I don't enjoy things going well and working out. I love that, but conflict to me nowadays, it might like for a moment give me a temporary ick, but then I'm so quick now to be like, yeah, that everything that comes, I'm just like, bring it, let's go. We're gonna survive, we're gonna thrive, we're gonna excel, and this is just a gift that it's bringing. So even all of my trauma and my traumatic situations and pain always brings me a present. So when I have that mindset, even when I'm in a Mars malefic ruling year of energy, it's giving me benefit in my mind because my perception is in that focused, optimistic way. So it's all about how you perceive, right? So we've talked about how to activate it. I've explained my Mars. So it pretty much just kind of wrapping that part up. You're living through the planet's story of the year. So I'm living through Mars's story and Mars's journey this year. And that's why this whole topic of annual profections even came up in my mind, because I was thinking about what Mars has been doing and all of the experiences that I've been having when it comes to the things that I take action on, my desires, any conflicts and that I've been having. I've just been thinking about all of that and reflecting on it, and it's literally tracking every time this planet Mars has been moving. Like right now, I told you it's in my 6th and 7th house, depending on which system you're looking at, but it was just in my 5th house. And I felt that energy when it came to like how I creatively express, how I entertain myself, having conflicts come up in those type of situations, and relationships were ending, even though now it's in my 7th house and I'm getting realization of those relationships ending. But like, I guess I should say a more like datey kind of relationship, because that's 5th house is like your dating space. Your 7th house is your relationships, and it can be romantic, but the 5th house is your entertainment, your pleasure. It's your pleasure house. So a lot of times your dating life falls in your 5th house just as much as it falls in your 7th, but it starts in the 5th. If we're talking on like we're dating as in we're dating, not just we're friends hanging out. If we're just friends hanging out, that's in your 3rd and your 11th house. But if it's dating, it's in your 5th house. So that I had some conflict happening in there. And then I think about it was in my 4th house before that, and I was having conflict in my home life very much, and my actions were very focused in that space. So just tracking it and reflecting on it and seeing what's been going on. So if you kind of want to think about the house themes, I can break it down for you really quick. I made notes, so I've got something to follow. And I'm gonna be really like kind of brief with these. 12, I just saw 2112 on the clock, a very mirrored number. I've been seeing that one a lot. Tell me if you've been seeing that one a lot. And we're working on annual perfections 12 energy, and it's been mirrored, so we love that. It's creation. So 1st house, when it comes to annual perfections, and just 1st house in general, all about the identity, the self. When I say self, we're talking about this self, right? How you present yourself, how the world sees you, and beginnings. 1st house is where the sun rises in your chart. This is your beginning of your space. 2nd house is all about value, self-worth. A lot of times people relate this to money. 3rd house, all about communication, your learning when it comes to your thoughts and your ideas and your environment. And this is your day-to-day type of thing. 4th house is all about home, family, and foundation. So home is the place that you find safety and security in. Family is the community that is around you that you are the closest with, right? This can be blood related, or it can be a built family, not necessarily like your community as in your networking, but these are like the people that you would invite into your home, share your private world with. This can be ancestry, foundational formation. That's what the 4th house is. It's the foundation of who you are. Then we have the 5th house, creativity, joy, and expression. This is where you play. This is where you entertain others and how you entertain. So this is a lot of times that's where creativity comes from. It's how you express what entertains you, what brings you joy, or what brings you some type of emotional experience. It doesn't have to be joy necessarily. 6th house is all about your routines, right? This is another day-to-day house, and it's really funny that 3, 6, and 9 are all about your movement and your environment, right? This is just the environment that you are kind of nurturing in. It's more of your work, right? You're doing something in this space. Traditionally, it's ruled by Virgo, right? So it's very health focused on your physical and your mental body. 7th house is all about relationships and partnerships and things that you relate to outside of yourself. The 8th house is all about transformation. This is the merging space where you've taken the relationships and how you relate to others and how you bring that back into yourself and build something out of it, right? It's the shared resources for whatever you are creating together. And it's a very deep house. It's a house of depth, not because it is dark, but depth as in it goes below the surface of things, and there's infinite possibilities within that of creation to create outside of that. Then we move to the 9th house. This is all about your belief systems, your wisdom that you've developed through the idea and then experience, the reflection, and now you've gotten the wisdom from it. Travel, this is going to be more long distance travel, right? Doesn't necessarily mean getting on a plane. It can be reading a book about a culture that is far from yours, distant from yours, just expanding your worldview. 10th house is all about career, visibility, and reputation. This is the legacy that you are leaving in the world. And a lot of times career falls into that because career is something usually you're building outside of you. 11th house is all about the community that you're creating and you're nurturing, right? What friendships you're making and the goals that you're wishing to accomplish. The 12th house now becomes the house of rest, right? It's the final placement before we start the cycle anew. This is the place of endings, your inner world. Hidden enemies can be found here, which is so funny because it's unknown to you. It's hidden. You don't know that they existed until, oh wow, beautiful eagle. Oh my gosh, it caught me. It caught me. You don't know that this existed until you do, right? It's the unconscious state. The 6th house a lot of times shows enemies, but it's more in your face enemies because it's more of a conflict, like in your day-to-day work environments, that you can run into those things. The 12th house, it was hidden to you until it becomes brought into the light, right? Moving into the 1st house. So each year asks you to focus on something different. So depending on what year you find your annual perfection in, that's the focus that is being asked on you that year. So when we think of the planetary rulers, what you look at is going to be Mars is all about action, conflict, and drive. Venus is all about relationships, harmony, and pleasure. Mercury is about communication and thinking. Jupiter is about expansion and opportunity. Saturn is all about structure and discipline. The sun is about your identity and visibility, and the moon is about the emotions in the inner world. If you want to work with the outer planets, Uranus is going to always be about the awakening of something, right? Neptune is going to be about the illusion or the disillusion of something, and Pluto is always going to be about the transformation or rebirth of something. The planets tell you how the year feels, and the house tells you where. So when you look at what house it's in, you're seeing where this is happening in your life, and the planet tells you what kind of energy it's feeling like. So I kind of told you my personal example about Mars being my ruler, and it's a Scorpio year for me, and it's in my 2nd house. So this is kind of talking about themes of money, value, and my own self-worth. And then you layer in the Mars element of it, and those are in scorpionic themes, right? So going deep, understanding it, kind of sometimes fixating a little bit on those themes and transforming them into something. Mars bringing the element of action around my finances, right? Confronting my own personal values and the intensity in resources and having a desire and a drive to accumulate some type of resources for myself. So this year's asking me to take action on what I value, and I've felt this all year. I feel Mars very strongly because of the fact that in Placidus I have Pluto in my 1st house. So Mars becomes a very strong energy for me, and it being a 29-degree natally, I know it's a very big completion energy. So anytime one of these planets transits and starts conjuncting with my Mars, my actions, they be moving. So how you can like use this, this is something that I look at is I track my year. I observe the patterns that are happening. I don't force any outcomes, right? This is not me trying to say, oh, because this is happening, this is going to happen. No, this theme is happening and it can present an energy in this way. And then I just become observant to see how it actually shows up. But I'm aware, I'm prepared, and not prepared in like everything is outlined, but I'm prepared as nothing catches me by surprise in that way that is startling and I become stuck in, because growth is not about being stuck. Growth is about being able to adapt and evolve, and this system just helps you do it faster. So it's not about predicting, it's about understanding what's being emphasized. That's really the key that I find with annual perfections. So annual perfections simplify astrology. They show you where to look. It's a really good focus lens. You do one of those. When you're looking at your chart, you just go like this and be like, okay, what are we looking at? And an annual perfection can give you a focus. This is a really great system if you're getting new, if you're first starting out your journey into learning astrology, because it gives you something to focus on and look at and then reflect on throughout your year and go back and reflect on. It's like a nice focus point. And once you learn this, you're able to adapt and prepare, to be honest, for your year. Like if you know you're going into a Saturn ruled year, you know that you're going to be having a lot of, experiences and feelings about your discipline and your structure. It's almost like a Saturn return, to be honest. Like there's a report card year. And it's so funny, in my chart I have two Saturns right next to each other because I think, do most people? Yeah, because Capricorn and Aquarius are both ruled by Saturn. So yeah, so most people experience a double Saturn back to back. I mean, we're in the Saturnian realm, so it makes sense. So once you learn how to play with Saturn in like the best way to serve you and enjoy it, it becomes great in this world. So when you know what part of your life is being activated, you can move with it instead of against it. Like that's a really great way to use this. So what house are you in right now? Did you look up your annual profection while you were watching this video? Did you know it before it started? Are you gonna look it up after? I would recommend it just to even know and just to see what it's even telling you, and does it align with you? Do you agree? If you need any help with it, let me know in the comments. I do readings and charts and stuff like that, and I can answer any questions. It's always fun to talk about this. Now I feel really like invigorated with the Mars energy. I have been lately, but it's more understanding whenever I'm like, oh yeah, it's the annual profection year. It doesn't define me, but it helps to express how I'm feeling. And that's why I like the language of astrology. Oh, it would have been better maybe for me to be here. Like, look how bright this is. I was over here in the shadows, and over here it's like, hello. But I'm not recording this again. It's already been 30 minutes, and this one's been great. It didn't overheat, and I didn't run out of storage. So this might be my new spot for the moment. It's a little bit more intimate, but I'm into it, and my back likes resting on something. And then we'll just keep moving forward. But yeah, this was really fun, you guys. If you have questions, again, let me know. Hit the like button if you liked it. Subscribe if you're into this dynamic. I'm growing as everyone is every day, and I just like expressing and exploring, because me teaching you is me teaching myself. The student will always be the teacher to me, and the teacher will always be the student. So thank you for allowing me to have a space to express and explore my understanding and knowing, so I can expand it more in my life. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for like joining the community and building something really beautiful here with me. And I'm enjoying every moment of it, just like I'm enjoying the feeling of this glorious sun. I love you, and I can't wait until tomorrow, for us to go on another journey and explore this beautiful world that we have. Enjoy your night, your day, and your life. I love you.